Hello and welcome to the Wealth Table. We are on episode 1 out of 12. This is going to be a 12-part series where we just have real conversations about wealth, alignment, and online income. Today it is just me, but each week I'm going to have a guest speaker on who has an alternate source of income and really hear their stories, what works, and yeah, I suppose share an insider view of if you are curious about stepping into the online space, how you can actually do so and what that may look like for you. I'd love you to drop in the chat where you're saying hi from. I am Kenzie, if you don't know who I am. I'm 26 years old from Upper Hutt, New Zealand. It's a super rainy day today. I have my 8-week-old sleeping just over there. Hopefully he stays asleep, but he may be joining this call at some point, but that's all okay. Cool. We've got a few people also from Upper Hutt, Auckland, Nelson, all the Kiwis on today. I love it. Okay, amazing. All right, so let's jump into my story. And I want you to rewind back to 2021. I was 22 years old and I was working as a nanny and a cleaner. So I worked for a couple of nanny families and I cleaned at a couple of houses. My week, I had flexibility and freedom within my week. Like I had time to go out for a coffee or go to the beach or go to the library, whatever. But at the same time, I was also working 3 jobs. So I was doing washing, vacuuming, cleaning, cooking dinners, and picking up kids and dropping off kids to school, sports, etc. Those were my nanny jobs, and then my cleaning jobs was I would drive to a client's house, clean their house top to bottom once a week, and between those 3 jobs, I was making about $25,000 a year. And money was tight at the time. And I remember just thinking, oh, well, that's okay. Like, I'm probably just going to keep doing this for the rest of my life. I'm okay if I only earn maximum $30,000 a year. I don't need much money. And I thought that was quite noble of me to not need much money. Um, I was building my house truck and I was struggling for money to build the house truck. And it had sort of been put on the back burner. I had owned the truck for a few years and I didn't have the money to build it. And I was like, man, I really want to go live in this truck and I can clean along the way and I can do nanny jobs along the way. But it just wasn't happening. And it was around this time that I saw a post on Instagram of someone in my hometown who was talking about online income and sharing all these stories of people who were earning way more than me than I was at the time. And I was like, what is this? How does it work? I could do this while I live in my truck. Like, that sounds really cool. It sounds aligned with my values. So I reached out to her and I did a 3-part webinar series. I attended that. And what I learned in this webinar series was that it was a high ticket product from Japan in the wellness industry, that working with a high ticket product is really important because you could either get paid $20 for a sale or you could get paid thousands of dollars for a sale. So that really hit home for me at the time. And I started just hearing all of these stories from people who were bringing in an amazing amount of money and wealth and really changing their lives. And they weren't really too different from me. Like, they were working a full-time job, or they had been cleaning as well, or they had been nannying. And I felt it really start to challenge my money mindset at the time, because I had that mindset of, nah, like, it's okay, I'm just going to cruise by and like not have much money. And I really started to feel something like, oh, okay, well, what I've been telling myself for years and years and years, maybe that's not true. Maybe I do deserve to earn more, and maybe I do deserve to have this really beautiful and abundant life where I don't actually have to stress about money, and where that's not my reality. So I had all these thoughts going on in my mind, right? I was really curious, but didn't quite understand how it worked. So I jumped into something called the discovery process, which is a series of videos. And I learned that the company was called Enagic. They were a 50-year-old Japanese company, and they make the world's highest quality medical grade water ionizers. And water ionizers is something that changes the pH in your water. It's hydrogen rich water. And these machines are used in Japanese hospitals, and they are a super ethical company and they have a really beautiful and rich history and a really beautiful plan for the future. And I was just like, this is so cool. Like, this is amazing. And then I started learning about the power of social media and personal branding, and that I could use my Instagram, because that's where I would hang out on social media. I could actually use my Instagram and show up as myself, build my personal brand and share what I care about. So living in my van and going traveling and, this really fun life paired with this water ionizer in this company, I can earn a really good income. And at this point, I was super excited. I was like, I'm going to do this. Like, this is me. This is my thing. I remember sitting up in bed at nighttime, writing out numbers and doing all this planning. And I was just like, I hadn't even gotten started. And I was like, I'm in. Like, this is happening. And then I learned about the investment to get started. And throughout the videos, they had been talking about, the different investment options. I was like, okay, yeah, cool. Like, sweet. I'm sure there'll be something for me. And then I looked at the whole big picture. I sort of stepped back and I went into my old money mindset of, I'm just meant to be this person who, I think the bubba's waking up. I'll be 2 seconds. Hey, Lindy. Hey, my boy. Okay. Just keeping it real, my friends. This is little Mevy. Hey, Bubba. Hey, my boy. So I went into my old money mindset and I sort of had this fear of, I don't think I can find the startup capital. The investments range between $6,000 to $18,000. And yeah, I was just like, that's not possible for me. And sort of started to go into, yeah, just unhelpful thoughts of, oh, I don't think I can do this, and sort of giving up on it all. But I was so excited and I couldn't stop thinking about it. That was what I knew. I was like, I really seriously cannot get this out of my mind. And it was a conversation with my mum, and we worked through how much debt I had at the time. I'm just going to lift this up, give him a feed. At the time, I had $70,000 worth of debt. So I had got a student loan, a car loan, I had lent money to build my house truck, and I was looking at $70,000. And if I stuck to just the minimum repayments, I wouldn't have that paid off until I was 37 and I was 22. So that would mean I'd get to 37 and probably still be working a job that I'm not super passionate about. I would still be like, I probably wouldn't have finished building the truck. I wouldn't have bought a house. I wouldn't be able to be at home and be a present mama. There was all those things, and that was really a slap in the face. And I suppose a bit of a reality check for me of, okay, well, I think my only option is actually to get started with Enagic, because it will be the thing that will help me pay off my debt. It will be the thing that helps me finish building the truck. It will be the thing that helps me travel. It'll be the thing that helps me be a present mum. And all of this was happening, and I was like, I just need to find a way to find this startup capital, and I need to work on my money mindset. So I started listening to books like The Magic and listening to podcasts around money mindset, and really started rewiring my thoughts and letting go of this like broke girl narrative, because I didn't want that anymore. I ended up finding the startup capital for an investment option that was $11,000. I lent some money from my nana. I got a small loan. I found there's a payment option with Enagic, and I used one of those. So there was a bunch of different things I did. And yeah, to be fair, like, it was a messy way to get started and like a higgledy-piggledy way to get started. But it meant that I was able to get started. I was lucky enough to partner with a community called the Wildly Empowered Collective. And this is a group of men and women from Australia and New Zealand who all have Enagic businesses, but came together to, work as one community and run retreats together and do trainings together and, really build our businesses as a like-minded community. So my first week in business was focused on doing the trainings and coming to team calls and asking questions and asking for help and really just soaking up all of the knowledge that I could. And in my second week of business, I made my first sale and I earned $1,200. And I was just mind blowing. So at the time I was working as a nanny, I think I was earning like maybe $600 a week. So I was just like, whoa, I've just earned like the same as my nanny income. In my first 2 weeks of business, I was absolutely mind blown. And then I continued to build my business. I ended up deciding to get a 9 to 5 job at Toyota, started working 50 hours a week, and I just went guns blazing on my business. I would wake up at 5 a.m. and do a couple hours of work, and then by 7:30 I was sitting at my desk at Toyota. 5:30 work would finish. I would skateboard home and I would do a little bit more work on my business. And I continued to do this, continued to develop my skill set. And at times it was difficult. At times I was like, man, this is taking longer than I would like it. And I did have thoughts of giving up. But what really held me and, yeah, I suppose kept me on the right track was my goal and my vision. My goal to go traveling. I really wanted to go traveling, and I really wanted to eventually, by the time I had kids, be able to be at home with my kids. Like, that was massively, massively important to me. So I stayed really focused on that. I would record myself pretending to be somewhere that I'm not. So I used to record myself and say, wow, it's Wednesday morning. I've woken up in the truck and I've just lit the fire and gone for a walk down by the lake, and I checked my bank account and I had $3,000 drop in overnight. And it was just a bit, like I really stepped into that version of abundance and that version of life that didn't exist for me yet. And I listened to that every single day, and I made that a ritual every single day. So I continued building my business while I was working at Toyota, and I got to the point where I could quit my Toyota job. I was like, okay, cool. We've finished building the house truck and I'm going to go traveling. Now, this was daunting. So starting my business was daunting, absolutely. But this was also daunting because my partner and I both quit our stable jobs, our stable income, and we hopped in the van and we headed down south. Now, this is the part that I haven't really shared on social media because at the time when I was in it, I was still processing and it felt like a lot of pressure. I was scared. I was so scared to be the sole provider for my partner and I. And I had a lot of doubt around my skill set. And we lived in the van for 5 months. And what that van trip taught me was to trust myself and to step into my confidence and step into my power. And again, I was, focusing on the future version of myself whilst also enjoying where we were because I did it. I had got to the point of I've woken up in the van and I lit the fire and I went for a walk on the beach and I woke up with $3,000 in my account. Like that goal at the time had become my reality all because of my magic business. But I still had this fear and I wanted to wake up each day and just be like, I've got it. Everything's actually okay. And it was going to a retreat with my community, the Wildland Park Collective. I went to Byron Bay. It was a leadership retreat. You had to earn a spot there. I worked really hard to get myself there. And I walked into that retreat knowing that I was going to be with an Addict for Life and that I was, I was like, yeah, I'm pretty capable of doing this. I walked out of that retreat going, I am so capable of doing this. And I'm going to help as many people as I possibly can to partner with an addict and to build a really successful business with an addict and really share my journey and my lessons and support people through their own journey and help them, go through their own lessons and create the amount of income and wealth and abundance that they really want to as well. Off the back of that retreat, I had a $12,000 month and then a $15,000 month and then a $10,000 month and then a $12,000 month and then a $15,000 month and then a $10,000 month, right? You get the picture. I started to earn a wild amount of income. So I'd gone from working at Toyota, well, nannying 25K a year to Toyota 50K a year to now being this business owner who's earning like 10K, 12K. And I was like, holy shit, like this is really fun and this is really cool. And I became a 6-figure business owner within a couple of years of stepping into an Enagic business. And this business has supported me through many, many seasons. My partner and I, my partner's name is Mitch, we were trying to conceive at the end of 2023, and we did. And we were so excited to be parents. I can't explain to you how excited we were. And then I had a miscarriage, and that was really hard. Like, it was physically painful, going through that. It was a really drawn out process for us, unfortunately. But mentally, I was so ready to be a mum. Like, I was a mum, and having that ripped away from us was distressing. And the, what's the word? The grief, it was all just horrible, right? And I always think, man, imagine if I was still be working at Toyota and I was only allowed a couple of days of sick leave to deal with that, and then I had to be back at work. I was at a point where I couldn't eat my lunch without crying. I couldn't watch TV without crying. It would just come up. Grief would just pop up at the most random times. And it was just like, I can't imagine having to go through this and not having an income to support me through it. The month I had the miscarriage was a $10,000 month. It was just, this business has been there to support me. Hey, you all right, Baba? This business has been there to support me through so many different seasons. Then 7 months after that, 7 months of trying to get pregnant and not conceiving, and going through that emotional roller coaster, my business still showed up for me and paid me. Then when I got pregnant with this little man, oh, honey, I had really awful morning sickness, like couldn't get through a meal without vomiting. So yeah, it's really been something that has supported me through each and every single season rather than feeling like a burden. Are you hungry, Baba? I'm just going to lift this up again and give him feed. Rather than feeling like a burden or, something that's unfulfilling or in the way, really. Now I have obviously stepped into a new season of motherhood, and learning to run a business around a little one. And it's honestly pretty easy because I have got the systems in place. I've got, my rhythm of my personal brand on social media. I run things like Instagram ads. I have, like all these systems in place that I got set up before I had a little one. And now I look at it, I'm like, it's actually not too strenuous to get back to where I was and to continue, not get back to where I was, but to continue growing my business around him. And I suppose it really is a pinch me moment to have a baby after having gone through loss. But also have a baby and know that I don't have a timeline on when I have to go back to work. I don't have 6 months of maternity leave and then, right, that's it, go back to another job. I actually get to stay home with Maverick and his future siblings their whole lives, and that's really special. Also do things like going out to a cafe or us going skiing midweek, us going traveling midweek. It's truly so special. And this is why I want to share it with as many people as I possibly can, because Enagic is a really amazing company. The products are amazing. The ethics are, like I could go on and on about Enagic, but it's really what they do for their distributors. They pay everyday people like you and me. And I just think it's really, really special. And like I said, want to share it with as many people as possible. The next step from here, if you are curious to learn more about Enagic, is to watch the discovery videos and jump on a call with one of my business specialists. So this is basically to go through what I went through in the early stages of my business. So to learn about the products, to learn about the community, to learn about the training, to learn about social media, and actually see whether it's aligned to you, and also the different investment options. There are different payment plans. And like I said, like if I can find a way to get started in the position that I was in, then absolutely there will be a way for you to get started. And yeah, to take a chance on yourself and take a chance on this and know that you are worthy of having the life that you want and the income that you want, regardless of your background, regardless of your current money story or your current money mindset. You do get to rewrite that. And yeah, I'm excited for you, excited to see where this journey takes you. Please flip me a message after this. I'd love to hear your thoughts, even if you're in the boat of, nah, this definitely isn't for me, then amazing. I'd still love to hear that. Or maybe you're in the boat of, I'm curious and I want to learn more. Or maybe you're in the boat of, I'm in, like, I'm so, so ready for this. Yeah, I'd love to have a conversation with you when you're finished. So I look forward to hearing from you in my inbox. Little Maverick's gone back to sleep. I hope that all of you have a beautiful rest of your day. I will leave it here. We'll see you if you want to join next week for part 2. But if not, I'll hear from you in the inbox. Bye.